Hey guys, welcome to another episode of FlyFishDan. I've recently had some questions about how I prepare when I'm going on a fishing trip. I happen to be going up a river today and I've got my gear bag with me, and I want to take you kind of through my process and thinking of what I decide to take fly fishing gear wise when I go fishing. Well, in this case it's going to be a river. So today I'm taking the boat out up the lake to a flooded canyon that leads to the mouth of one of our local rivers. And I haven't fished this section of the river yet and haven't accessed it this way, so I'm kind of excited to get up there and fish. But before we go, let's go through my gear bag and I'll show you everything that I've taken on this trip today to one of my local rivers. All right, let's have a look in the gear bag. Let's do this, fish on. So the first thing we want to look at is my Sling Pack itself. The reason why I have chosen to go with this Simms Sling Pack is I found it to be far more comfortable than wearing a vest. I had a vest for a lot of years and I had a timer on how long I could wear the vest. Back would start to hurt, shoulders would hurt. This is just far more ergonomic, so it's far more comfortable to wear this Sling Pack than a vest. And that's why I've chosen this particular Sling Pack. This Sling Pack from Simms is kind of their larger size Sling Pack, because I have a tendency to admittedly overpack whenever I go fishing. All right, so let's dig into it. So the first thing you'll see in here is a bunch of fly boxes. I try to bring a variety of things that I think that might work on a river or wherever it is I'm going. So in this case, you can see I've got some streamers here, some bright colors and some big patterns and some muddler minnows and that type thing. I have my nymph box here. You can see both sides full of nymphs. You just never know what could be working, small or big. So I try to have a big variety of nymphs. Almost lost one. I do that often too. I've got to do a better job in just, putting my gear away whenever I'm done too. So there's a fly fishing tip. Secure your gear so you don't lose a bunch of flies. You can see here, there's my big nymph box. This is for, I'm trying to get down to the deeper holes, or there might be some stone flies or squallow nymphs happening. Sometimes these will also act as stimulators for fish to come up to get their attention, and then they might take the smaller nymph. I have a friend down at the dock that's come to visit me. You don't see many of these guys hanging around. Crazy looking bug. Praying mantis, I think, right? And thank God those things are small insects. Can you imagine if it was human size? Those things are pretty scary looking. Glad he's tiny and eats other bugs.
All right, sorry, let's get focused back in, but that bug was pretty cool. All right, back to the gear bag.
You can see I've got another bugger box full of streamers and different buggers. I got kind of a rando box here. You can see I've got an older setup that I haven't untied yet with a chironomid. I've got some caddisfly nymphs, some mop flies, a couple San Juan worms, a few more. I've got a couple of dragonfly nymphs, squallow nymphs here. I've got another dry box here, just full of some bigger terrestrials. You can see here, and I've got some other smaller nymphs in there as well because I've used them for droppers, some drakes. Now I've got, it's getting late, it's getting close to fall, so I've got a bunch of October caddis in case I see some bigger stuff coming off the water. See a lot of dry options here as well. Now I've got my small dry fly box here, just in case there's some blue wing olives or smaller caddis coming up. I have an option to go with the smaller flies. And I've got one of my favorite fly boxes from the Morning Hatch. It used to be one of the fly shops in Tacoma that have since closed. And you can see just kind of a hodgepodge of different dry flies in the smaller versions, whether it's Adams, parachute Adams. I've got some damselflies in here. I've got some lots of different caddis flies in here, a couple of stimulator patterns. So I've got things pretty well covered. So that's about what I have in flies. You want to see something cool? Don't see this very often down by the dock, but check this out.
All right, again, sorry for the distraction. Just when you see something cool like that, you gotta share it, right? All right, back to the gear bag.
So What's this? This is Pepsid, because, you know, you want to be comfortable when you're fly fishing and you just happen to have some heartburn. I've got some Pepsid in there just in case I need it. Sunscreen, right? You got to always protect your skin against the sun, and when you're fishing, you get a double dose, right? You get the sun that comes down on you, and then you got the sun that reflects off the water. So I always have a high SPF sunscreen in there as well. All right, is that everything I've got in here? All right, let's go into the next section. What do I have in here? I've got a lighter. I have no idea what this is for. A cigar punch. Well, I probably know what that's for. And I've got an indicator, and I usually have a couple of other indicators with me as well, just in case I do some nymph fishing and I want to have an indicator setup. Let's go in this next section. So here's another indicator. So usually bring a couple indicators in case I lose one. We've got some dry fly floatant. This stuff, by the way, this liquid floatant, this is top-notch stuff. This does an incredible job when you coat your fly, especially prior to leaving on a fishing trip. This stuff does an amazing job when it comes to keeping your flies afloat. Wow. I do have some dry shake for some of the littler flies. If something does get a little soaked with water, I rinse the water out and use this dry shake to dry the fly all the way out. Cigar holder, because you just never know when you might want to partake in a cigar. See here, I generally bring 3 sizes of tippet. So I've got 3X in case I'm starting to use some bigger patterns and the fish aren't leader shy. If the fish are a little more leader shy, or I need to get a smaller nymph down faster, I go with a 4X. And then 5X if I really get into some spooky fish and I need to have just a lighter leader setup. Why do I have PowerFlex and PowerFlex Plus? Well, because I ran out of the 3X PowerFlex Plus is generally what I have in my bag. So I've got my PowerFlex and the 3X with me as well. So there's no real reason why I have 2 different types of Rio tippet in my bag. Oh, and hey, just one quick housekeeping thing. You see my hoodie here? I know it's probably driving a couple of you crazy, so it's fixed. Advil, that kind of goes over with Pepsid. Another sunscreen item, lip balm. You know, it's amazing how your lips can really burn when fishing from the sun. So I always have a higher SPF lip balm with me as well. Here is some more floatant. I do kind of prefer the liquid, but I also use the gel on occasion as well. So I have that with me. I'll also bring some extra tapered leaders, 4X and 3X. I don't have any 5X just because typically if I know that I need to lighten up this particular tapered leader, I can just tie on a piece of 5X to the end of this and not to have a 5X tapered leader. You notice they're 9 feet. That's kind of my preferred length. I have a pack of 3X and a pack of 4X just in case I really get knotted up and need to change my tapered leader. So I always have a few of these on hand as well. I've got a knot tying tool because you just never know, right? I've had some loops fail in dry fly line in the past, so I bring my knot tool with me just in case I need to tie a nail knot onto my floating line and tie a new leader on. So I always bring a knot tool with me. And of course, I have forceps. Important part here of the cutters, right? You want to have a forceps in case you have a fish that swallows the fly and you really got to go down after it, or you have some line to cut. So I always bring forceps that have the cutters on them as well. And another indicator. I've been looking for this one. So this is my last little wool indicator that has a spring clip. I love this indicator because it really lands softly. It's really visible and it lands softly on the water compared to these. These kind of hit the water hard and have a tendency to spook fish, but I can't find these anymore. I have a friend of mine making some prototypes, so maybe when he gets that thing locked down, we'll have more of these wool indicators. These are just great indicators. All right, in the side pouch, I've got my sunglasses, right? Polarized sunglasses, microfiber cloth inside as well, because you never know when you're gonna need to clean your glasses. Looks like I need to do a little cleaning before I go fishing as well. But you always wanna have glasses with you as well so you can see the fish and also protect your eyes. And that pretty much wraps up everything that I have in my gear bag. So this is what I take with me typically on any type of fishing trip. Now, let's get it all back in there. Oh, I should also mention, I've got a net and I've got it tied on a lanyard on the back of this as well, so I'm not losing any more nets down the river. So I've got it securely fastened in the lower portion of the Sling Pack, so easy access, and I can net fish and it stays with me. So important to have a lanyard because I've lost a net before down the river by not having one. So some of you might be thinking that that is a lot of stuff to have, right? That might be a little overkill. For me, that is just my preferred method. I like to make sure that I have all the bases covered when I'm fishing a river. Anything that might be happening, I'll be ready for with the Sling Pack. And it's not too much to carry. I mean, it's pretty lightweight. I got a couple of fly rods generally with me, plus my gear pack so I can catch fish. So do something similar like this. Be prepared, have all your bases covered, and you'll catch more fish too. All right, guys, until the next time, fish on.